All the way back in January 2018, PS Plus gave us Batman the Telltale series, and this happened to be my first ever Platinum trophy, which has sprouted into everything you see today. And since it's been almost 8 years since I last played this game, I've decided to replay it alongside its sequel, Batman the Enemy Within, which released just a year later. Considering it's been 8 years since last playing this game, I couldn't tell you much about the story other than you play as Batman. This game takes place shortly after Bruce Wayne has started being Batman, during which he is assisting Harvey Dent to become mayor of Gotham City. And I'm no being funny, but this guy, Bruce Wayne, has to be the unluckiest guy known to man. Throughout the first 3 chapters, he learns of a new threat, that being Catwoman, alongside being told from Carmine Falcone, some mafia boss, that the Wayne name is tied to some dodgy scandals from the past. And his old childhood friend Oswald Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin, returns to Gotham City to try take everything for himself, which he succeeds in, taking Wayne Enterprises away. We also learn of a new threat called Lady Arkham and get sent into Arkham Asylum, all within 3 chapters. Obviously during gameplay it gets more into detail, but think about it. All that, on top of being Batman, is fucking insane. And it doesn't get any better in the last 2 chapters. While in Arkham, we meet with a character called John Doe, or very obviously, the Joker. Fortunately, he helps us escape. But, when we get out, Harvey Dent slowly turns insane and turns himself into Two-Face, who goes a bit crazy and puts blockades up everywhere around Gotham. After more story, we take down the Penguin, arrest Two-Face shortly after, then discover Alfred's been kidnapped by Lady Arkham. This starts the final act of the game, underneath Arkham Asylum, where we take her down, finishing the story and getting my first platinum again.
Just minutes ago.
While replaying this game, there were multiple points in time throughout the story where the graphics would fuck up. And I'm not on about simple low quality glitches, even though there was some. I'm on about people not even being there glitches.
Drop the gun.
Look, I promise I'm not gonna shoot you, okay? I used to think you were a threat, but
These, fortunate enough, didn't clash with the story that much, since you already knew what most of the characters looked like, but it was still annoying either way. And besides from the visual glitches, Telltale's Batman has something really cool I didn't realise until after completing the story. That being, Lady Arkham is actually an original character for this game. Her identity is a character from the comics, that being Vicky Vale, but it's still cool to see such a big change in a character. Overall, my time with Batman Telltale was really enjoyable. Obviously the glitches were weird, but I found them quite funny, so it didn't really matter to me all that much. Now it's time for the sequel I didn't even know existed, Batman the Enemy Within. Compared to the previous game, it looks much better, and it doesn't have any of the invisibility glitches. This game takes place a few months after the previous game, and brings more well-known villains from the comics, including Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn, Bane, and one I was not expecting at all, Amanda Waller, who you probably know from the Suicide Squad. No way. But the story is much different compared to before. Chapter 1 plays out mostly as Batman figuring out how to and defeating Riddler. Then throughout chapters 2 to 3 it shifts into Bruce Wayne infiltrating the group known as the Pact, to hopefully learn about their intentions and stopping whatever they plan. But with doing this, you help move the plans forward and causing trouble in the later chapters. And it's also worth mentioning, at the end of chapter 3, I had such a hard decision that just happened. That being blaming Catwoman as the mole, or blaming yourself. But unfortunately it took me too long and John blamed Catwoman for me. The last 2 chapters bring it back to Batman, with the first half of chapter 4 bringing the Pact infiltration to a close. But it also has such a massive moment that changes the last chapter completely. My playthrough had John become a vigilante, helping us at the start but slowly becoming more and more insane as the chapter goes on. This ends in a big fight between the pair and a massive bombshell which I won't spoil. That pretty much ends it all. The remaining chapter is just closure for a lot of things throughout the story and another decision that I really regret. At the end of Batman the Enemy Within, you're given a massive choice. Have Alfred leave and continue being Batman, or have him stay and stop being Batman altogether. And my sheer stupidity made him leave without even seeing the two options. And that was probably one of the biggest regrets coming out of this game. That and the Catwoman mistake.
You seem to care little for my reasons. I'll be on my way.
I mentioned before a massive moment that changes depending on your choices with the Joker during Chapter 5. That being him being a vigilante. But he can also fully commit to being the Joker for the whole chapter, changing the chapter entirely, which is crazy to me. There's probably hundreds of things that change as well that I didn't even realise, which gives me so much respect for the developers who had to figure out all these story changes and considerations. This game was fairly enjoyable. The story was good, but not nearly as good as the first, but the decisions were definitely more impactful. And this time there weren't any invisibility glitches messing with the screen, making it much more immersive, so I'd highly recommend giving this a go. That goes for the Batman Telltale as well. So if you enjoyed, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I have so many more videos on the way, and I will see you next time.